in the Department of Children's English Education. So our institution is a teacher training institution. So the undergraduate students and that we have are pre-service English teachers, and we also have graduate program, TESOL program. So they are mostly in-service teachers as well. It's a great honor to be invited back to share with you Taiwan education system and trends with a focus on elementary and middle school education. Well, primary education and yeah. All right. To begin with, I would like to get to know where you're all from. We have 145 participants. Can you type in the chat, sort of let everybody else know where you're from? Cincinnati, San Francisco, Portland, Florida. Wonderful. Chicago, New York, California, Houston, New York, Seattle, Los Angeles, New Jersey, Central Illinois. Wonderful. Utah, Maryland, born in Malaysia. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, my family is based in Orlando, Florida. Both my sisters live in Florida, and so that's why when I'm talking about, when I'm sharing like Taiwan education system, I also compare it with the American education system. So I'll talk a little bit more about U.S. education, as my son has experienced it when I took him to the States with my students. And so that I can compare the U.S. system with the Taiwanese system, sort of to demonstrate how different these two systems are. And then I will be introducing the competency-based education in Taiwan, and then talk about the English education, as most of you will be helping out the English courses, and also a big trend in the push for bilingual education. I'll talk a lot more about that as well. All right, so back in 2014, I brought a group of 12 students to Seminole County Public Schools in Florida, and they were placed in 3 different schools. So there are a lot, around 1,000 some elementary schools, and these 3 schools was specifically picked the top in the middle, from the top, middle, and almost to the bottom. And so that we get a general idea of different schools in Florida, in Seminole County. And so during the time we're there, we knew that there's a focus on Common Core curriculum standards, and there's statewide assessment starting from 3rd grade. I don't know if you have like statewide assessments for elementary school in other states where you grew up in. We were quite surprised that 3rd graders had to take this statewide assessment in order and pass it in order to move on to 4th grade. And especially for ESOL students, it's quite difficult. And we found out that there was only 1 recess during lunch, after lunch, and this is really different. As you can see in the picture, my students they were like presenting a day of school in Taiwan, right here on my Facebook post, the upper right corner here, with the flag here. And so we were introducing the Taiwanese education, like a day of school in Taiwan, and they were quite surprised that we have like 7 breaks. Our elementary school session, each session is 40 minutes with a 10-minute break in between. And we have long breaks at 10 o'clock in the afternoon, like 20 minutes break. And also they were very surprised that we even have, after lunch, we have like nap time for both teachers and students. So this is like, scheduling is quite different. And I think we got this like school schedule from the Japanese when Taiwan was colonized for 50 years by the Japanese. So the Japanese system and education system in Taiwan education system is quite similar in that regards. And I was very, during my students' time there, like 3 months that they interned at the school, we learned that teachers offer differentiated instruction. They care about students' learning, and they tailored their instruction toward their needs. And each class, it's around 18 students, and whereas in Taiwan, normally the class size for elementary school is 30, for 28 to be exact, or 29. And for middle school, it's around, in the past, it's used to be for like 40 students in class when I was in middle school. Right now, it's around 30. And so it's somewhat a very large class, and especially for English, like English teachers are subject teachers. If you teach 6th grade and there are 6 classes in 6th grade, English teachers are responsible for teaching all 6 classes. Sometimes for smaller schools, English teachers had to cover all grade levels, like for those really small schools where only 1 class per grade, so basically, it's very difficult for English teachers to provide differentiated instruction. However, this is very important because if you're in Taipei, if you're gonna be assigned to the 6 major cities in Taiwan, you will find that a lot of students, they, like half or some students, their parents would send them to like bilingual at kindergarten or like immersive English kindergarten. So some of the kids' English proficiency is really advanced as compared to those kids who have not gotten any like cram school hours or outside of school English learning. So it would be a very wide difference between the advanced learners and not slow learners, but learners who do not have English classes outside of school in one class. And this is something that you may encounter in the future when you help out the different schools or English teachers. And like one major task would be, how do we help the lower level lower English proficiency level kids? And we also observed that schools in like elementary school teachers, they had no time for break at school. And so in Taiwan, well, because there are breaks in between, like teacher would have like class preparation time and some time for break. Okay, so that's the difference. Okay. Also here, the U.S. education in the eyes of a Taiwanese mother from kindergarten. Okay. And although you're going to help out, you're going to be assigned to elementary schools or middle schools or high schools. Here, one of the difference in terms of kindergarten is that in Taiwan, kindergarten is not compulsory. So kids are not like mandated to go to kindergarten. It's not required. Whereas in the States, I know that kids start school from kindergarten, and like back in 2014, while I brought my students there, I've also sent my son to Andover Elementary School in Orlando. That's where my parents and both my sisters are. So he had like 3 months of kindergarten, and I was so surprised. Like the first day of school, the teacher gave me like 100 sight words, and these are the words that my son Maddie, who has never had an English lesson, or back in the preschool in Taiwan, he was never like in Taiwan kindergarten curriculum. We don't have like we don't promote literacy, so they don't have like Chinese characterized writing or anything of that sort. So being like having my son memorize the 100 sight words in English, it was quite a challenge for him. And he said it was a lot of work in kindergarten, and more work in kindergarten as compared to fourth grade. Like 1 year, yeah, he also later on, back in 2017, he had fourth grade, 1 whole year of fourth grade in the States as well. But what we love about kindergarten and or school activities is are like the Dr. Seuss week, the crazy hair day, silly socks day. And that's something that I would like, or we would like for you to bring more fun to the English education in Taiwan. We don't have anything similar to like to this, like the Dr. Seuss Day, celebrating an author and doing fun things about it at school. So this might be something that you can introduce to your schools. And also at the time, Mrs. Gauthier insisted that we, the parents would read to our kids 20 minutes of reading every day. And that's what I did with my son. And I really like this, promoting 20 minutes of reading every day. For kindergartners like him, as the EFL learners, English as foreign language learner, he's not ready to read yet, but so reading aloud to him is a very good a way of input. And so after a month of 20 minutes, we had a calendar, to keep track of the days that we had the 20 minutes reading. And if we, I remember him being rewarded of a pizza from Pizza Hut, from what's it called, Target, like a small pizza, and he was so happy about it because this is sort of like rewarding him for reading every day for 20 minutes. So really like the different programs that was introduced in the States to help foster a love of reading in children. Okay, so this is something that we could also promote in Taiwan. But English reading would be somewhat challenging for lower level kids. Promoting outside reading in middle school or high school is highly suggested. So for elementary school kids, we really need to pick out the graded readers or books that are appropriate for them. Okay, a more from fourth grade experience. And these are some of the projects that, that Maddie has experience in fourth grade in the States, and again in Andover Elementary School. And these are some of the projects that we do not have in Taiwan. And that's why I'm sharing it here. This is something that perhaps you can introduce to the schools that you're going to be staying in. One of the favorite projects for my son Maddie was the Living Museum project, where he impersonated Walt Disney in the first person account, and it was a really fun way of and a great approach in helping an ESOL learner like himself practice delivery speaking. And this is what we need for Taiwanese kids as well, is like a project like this for kids to be confident in saying, expressing in English, and also finding out more about a person like Walt Disney, and presenting presenting and sharing who Walt Disney is to lower grade kids. Okay, so for the Living Museum project, the whole third grade was there and visiting each person, and the third grade teachers were shared with me that he was one of the students' favorites. Okay, because he really liked to act. Okay, and this the scientific method in the scientific method introduced in the first unit in fourth grade, and that's in Taiwan, the scientific method is not introduced until seventh grade, and that's a major difference. We really enjoyed the science project. It's an individual project. When I showed this project to the principals in Taipei Elementary School, my university's affiliated elementary school, and this principal, he has a background in science education. He was he was one of the judges for national science fairs competitions, and he was saying that having individual students work on a project like this is somewhat impossible in Taiwan, because he would be worried about parents having to engage in the participate and work on this project with their kids, and that would be a lot of workload for the parents. And so that's why he said this might not be possible to be implemented in Taiwan. And that's something that's quite sad to hear, but I'm still pushing for this now that we're introducing a bilingual education system, bilingual, not system, but bilingual education, where science is taught in English. And yeah, we're still working on this as well. The third thing is the accelerated reader. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the accelerated reader. In fourth grade, he read, we check out books from the library, and he listened to audiobooks. And after reading or listening to an audiobook, he would go to school, get onto an accelerated reader system, and answer like 10 to 20 questions for that book. And so by the end of the year, they would accumulate and calculate how many words each student had read. And this is something that we in Taiwan that we have not yet been able to do, but at the college levels, we are some universities are adopting X reading, where we could keep track of university students reading time and words that they read. Okay, so yeah. And one of the differences of US system and Taiwanese system is that Maddie found out that his classmates they graduate in 5th grade, and whereas in Taiwan, the elementary school starts from 1st to 6th grade, so they graduate in 6th grade, and 1 to 6th grade, and for middle school it's 7, 8, 9, and for high school is 10, 11, 12, and this is different. Okay, a little bit about Taiwanese kids mathematics and science performance in the TIMSS. Okay, this is a study done in 2019, and all these countries were involved. They had their students from 4th grade and 8th grade. They've got the students got tested on math and science, and then they were comparing the performance for each students from each country. And as you can see, for 4th grade in science, international science achievement, the average scale scores, Singapore and Korea were among the top achievers in science. And if you could see 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by Russian Federation, Japan, and Chinese Taipei. So Chinese Taipei is Taiwan, okay? I don't want to go into the political, to be political here, but I'm sure you all know why Chinese Taipei is Taiwan. So we ranked the 5th in 4th grade science, and when it comes to 8th grade science, Chinese Taipei ranked the 2nd. So we're really students really performed really well on these science tests for for 4th grade and 8th grade. And for mathematics in 4th grade, you could see Singapore is still the top, followed by Hong Kong, Korea, and Chinese Taipei ranking the 4th in math, and then Japan. And for mathematics in 8th grade, you could see East Asian countries are top achievers in mathematics by a substantial margin, with Singapore and then Chinese Taipei ranking the 2nd. It's same as 8th grade science as well. So as you can see, our kids do really well in science and math. And I should include like a study in English or comparing TOEFL score, TOEIC scores as well, but I didn't. And you may ask me why, they were performing really well, and I would say it has something to do with the school hours and also with the education system. For middle schools, when they go into high schools, they need to pass an entrance exam for high school. So that's why kids are doing really well in 8th grade, because 7, 8, 9, because in 9th grade, at the end of 9th grade, they need to pass a test, entrance test, to get into high school, like the top high schools. You really need to get good grades and to get into real top high schools. And then after high school, there's also a for college application, they also a lot of the students are still taking the test in order to get into college. So it's a really a like test-based system, but we wanted to change that. And also part of the reason is the school hours. Taiwanese students spent approximately 8 to 9 hours at school. And for elementary and middle school students, they attend school from 7:30 and to 4 o'clock, and it's 8.5 hours a day. And this is quite early, 7:30. Oh my gosh. After being in the States for a year for 4th grade for Maddie, coming back, he was like, oh my gosh, why do we need to go to school at 7:30? Whereas in the States, when did you start school for elementary? I remember it was 8:45 or something. Can someone type in the chat from Florida? Do you know like when students need to be at school? Okay. All right. Oh, maybe 9. I started at 9:30, really? Okay. Florida high school was 8:30 to 3:40. It depends on each school, but earliest is usually 8. Thank you. Yeah, I remember it was around he didn't have to be at school until like 8:45 or something. 7:50 for you, Jack. Where are you? Where are you from? In the States, 7:50. Wow, that's the first.
California. Yeah.
California. Okay. Oh, quite a surprise. 7 for high school. Okay, 7:50 as well in New Jersey. Okay, 7 a.m. for high school. Okay, so I get when it comes to high school, you start early, but for elementary school, you start like later than Taiwan. Okay, 8 to 3:30, and that's why Maddie loves going to school in the States, because they get off school very early. 3:30 is very early because they usually get off like after 4 o'clock. They would have like clubs in that. And so anyways, the average high school hours in Taiwan is 9.5 hours, starting from 7:30 to 5 p.m., which is even longer than general working hours. And a lot of kids after like 5 o'clock, they go to cram school, because they cram school to finish their like every day they have homework assignments, and and also they go to English cram schools, like Koreans, they go to English cram schools, and learning English is really big in Korea as well. So in Germany, Japan, Mexico, and Canada, the average school hour is 6 hours, while in the US, UK, Australia is 6.5. So it's like a 2-hour difference of school hours, when you compare Taiwanese to these countries. For South Korea, China, the average is 8 and 9 hours respectively. So this is like kids spend more time at school. Okay. And like I mentioned, because there's entrance exams to go into high school and university, in the past, our curriculum has been just like test-driven pedagogical practice, and one of the top middle schools in Taipei, they sometimes have 7 tests a day, starting from 7th grade. And one of my son's friends from elementary school, she was in another like prestigious middle school. They have weekly tests, and the teacher even give out like their class rankings every week, and also like a score difference for by gender, like girls, this is girls' performances, this is boys' performance, and it's really I think it's really stressful, but the kids are used to it. Okay, so this is one of the tests that I borrowed from Maddie's class friend from a more test driven or test preparation oriented. I shouldn't say that, but but yeah, they really focused on studying. Okay. But when you look at students' attitude towards math, and remember that kids perform really well in 8th grade, and in fourth grade, the Taiwanese kids, this is also from Tim's, like after they done the test, they were asked to fill out a questionnaire. Only 22% like it very much, like math very much in fourth grade. Somewhat like math is 38%, and do not like math, it's 41% in fourth grade. Wow. Okay, kids kids were saying they do not like math from fourth grade, 41%, but they still perform really well. But when it comes to 8th grade, remember Taiwan ranking the second in math? Only 12% liked it very much, 33 somewhat liked it, and 56 do not like math at all. Okay, 56%. So how do you perform really well, but don't like this, don't like math, and that there's a problem there, like, right? Now, once you pass the entrance exam, you're gonna like kids would not want to pursue, and or they just don't like it, and so that's why after after like decades of having this test-driven curriculum, currently we're implementing a new curriculum, 12-year curriculum, and it's competency-based. Competency refers to particular skills, knowledge, and including attitudes right there, that one needs to respond to life situations. So we right now in Taiwan, we focus on our learning centering around life situations in the new information society. So this is the competency iceberg. So kids are really performing well in terms of knowledge and perhaps skills, but we found out that they really don't like what they're studying, and that would be a problem. So we're focusing on fostering their attitude towards learning, of the passion for learning, and and like the passion for science, not just performing well on the test, but the willingness and the desire to learn more about science, to conduct science experiments, to a general interest in science. And this is something that we like to foster, that and get them motivated and study not just for the test but for themselves. So there's a move from knowledge to competency, because Taiwanese kids do well on their test when they're being tested on knowledge, but not their attitude towards learning. So we're moving from knowledge to competency, turn attention from academic knowledge and intense intellectual development to the student and his or her well-rounded learning in real life situations. And that's the focus right now in Taiwan, okay, for the new 12-year curriculum. So the 12-year basic education competency is competency-based education with three, like three core competency framework. The three core competency, including spontaneity right here, interaction, and for common good. Okay, so this for spontaneity, okay, right here, refers to individual children's self-learning ability. We like for them to be able to, you know, willing to learn on their own, and, you know, ability to think systematically, to solve problems, to plan and execute, and to innovate and improvise when faced with ever-changing situations. And so for interaction, it refers to, ooh, why can't I move this? Right, sorry, let me refresh this a little bit, okay. Oops. Don't worry, we could jump to that slide right like that. Okay, so for interaction, it refers to the ability to communicate and express so that each individual self is aware of the world outside of self, such as other people and the environment or school cultures. Under communicative interaction, we'd like for them to be able to communicate and have communicative expressions in both Chinese, and now with the focus on learning English, with English as well, being able to communicate in English and advance their oral communication ability in English is sort of our goal for the Ministry of Education, and leading the you know, our students in Taiwan. Also, we would like our kids to be able to use technology and information and media and have media literacy, technology, information, media literacy. Right now, since because of the pandemic, kids are having to learn remotely, and opening up the schools, and this is a great chance for them to be like more capable of communicating via technology and have media literacy. But also arts and aesthetic competency is one of the focus as well. So the third core would be the common good, referring to the idea that learning is not just for oneself. Variety is not only valuable, but necessary, and students should be enabled to care about the health of society and the world, and not only themselves and their immediate circles. And so we focus on moral practice, civic consciousness, interpersonal relations and teamwork, and multicultural and international understanding. Now, I know this is quite like, we don't like to talk about the framework a lot, but when you go into the schools and helping the teachers develop their curriculum or the lesson plans, everything is based on this. So for every lesson, we like it to be we liked the focus to be around developing their competency in these areas, one of these areas. So for like in an English class, it could also be teamwork, and or for an English class, you could also focus on planning planning for a trip, or planning for a visit in the States. So that sort of planning, the goal, or so it could be, or for English class, if you integrate it with arts, it could be art and aesthetic competency in your English class. So anything, these are all, this would be something that you would always consider when you develop a lesson plan. Okay, and for self-directed action, we would like students to be able to have to know how to self-improve their in different areas of life, and to have systematic thinking and problem solving skills. And if you could design like problem solving activities in your English class or your bilingual class, that's something that we really love. And yeah, and so you would always need to refer back to the core competency framework in the 12-year curriculum when it comes to like planning your lessons with the local teachers here in Taiwan. Okay. So here's a little bit about, since you're here for the English, helping out the English teachers with their English curriculums, and perhaps also for their bilingual courses as well. This is like a brief history of the English curriculum in Taiwan. And I know we're gonna have a break around, when is our first break? Okay, I think Kevin will remind me.
Yeah, I think we can break now and then
Oh,
come
really?
back. Yeah, if you want
Okay,
to.
that's wonderful.
Yeah, and
All
then we
right,
can
well,
come back
let's
at
come back at
10:30.
10:30. Okay, that's good. Right.
Okay. So please come
Oh,
back at 10:30.
okay, thank you. And then we will get into the English curriculum. Thanks. A +1 in the chat. Okay, thank you. All right, let me stop the timer. Where did it go? Okay, right here. All right, okay, let's see. Share, I'm sharing my, I'm sharing the screen. All right, let me share the link again to this Padlet wall. Okay. All right, you can find like postings from the previous years, Fulbright, both Fulbright ETAs and my university students who joined me last year. So please take some time and put down your name from Fulbright 2022 so that we know it's you, and share some, if you could share some thoughts or questions, comments about what I shared today. And we will have a Q&A after I've, after like for the last 15 minutes of the session. Okay. All right, so allow me to continue. Let me see if okay, I'm gonna stop sharing this one. And then we'll come back to that Padlet. Okay. All right. So back to, let me move this a little bit away. Okay. So back to the English curriculum in Taiwan. We started the English curriculum back in 1997. It was a test run in English for starting from 3rd grade. Okay. And in 1998, it was an official start from 3rd grade with 2 sessions per week. So for each session, it's 40 minutes. So it's only 80 minutes per week. Okay. And in 2002, Taipei City, the capital city of Taiwan, starts it's having students learn English from first grade. And then in 2011, like 10 years later, 9 years, 10 years later, 3 sessions per week for middle and upper grade levels in elementary schools. That would be like 120 minutes per week of English in upper grade levels, 5th grade and from 3rd grade to 6th grade. So do you think that 120 minutes per week of English is enough to get students started to be able to speak in the language? I like to ask you, like, I know that you take like foreign language and perhaps in high school. How many sessions or hours or minutes per week do you have? Not unless they have a lot of outside support, like like cram school people around you who speak it. Yes. 5 days a week, 1 per day. Wonderful. And still not enough. Depends on where you are starting and where your end goal is. I'd probably say not enough per week. Yes. In high school, 3 hours a week. All right. 1 hour a day, 4 to 5 days a week. That's wonderful. I would say in order to like become fluent in another language, you would really have to have daily practices or input in the language. And in my highest foreign language studies, we have full immersion for at least 90 minutes per day, 5 days a week. That's wonderful for a foreign language immersion program. 90 minutes per day, 5. It's about, it's really that's something that we really need in Taiwan. So yeah, 120 minutes per week is not enough. And back in 2016 or 17, our government is very ambitious. We were like, they were introducing like a bilingual nation policy for Taiwan to become a bilingual nation, and with the official language of both Chinese and English. Of course, they've changed that after like a year and a half or two. Once the policy has announced, there were a lot of people who were against it, and so anyways, so yeah, the English teaching is not enough. And let me give you a snippet of it, of a like ordinary elementary school unit. And this unit, our textbook is mainly grammar based. So each unit, it's a sentence pattern. And for this unit, this was like, I can't remember if it's 15 years ago or, it was a long time ago when I visit my student, and she was interning at one of the schools in elementary schools. And I was there to observe in our class and give her feedback. And this lesson was on what's wrong with you. I have a cold. I remember it was like when I just got back from the States after obtaining a doctoral degree, and I was not yet quite familiar with the elementary school textbook and what they were teaching. So when I saw this, and she was, as you can see, she had all the vocabulary: cold, fever, runny nose, sore throat, on the board with pictures, so that matching pictures with words. In the sentence pattern on the right hand side, what's wrong with you? I have a cold. And she's fluent in English and teaching English in English only. Okay. and having a conversation with the puppet monkey in her hand saying, "Oh, what's wrong with you?" And the monkey would say, "I have a cold." This conversation seemed a bit odd to me at the time. I was quite surprised. And I thought, oh, this is totally wrong. Why would you teach the kids to say, when you come up with, when it comes to a friend seemingly feeling sick, and you'd like to take, you wanted to ask, "Hey," and then you would say, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" Even with a soft voice, "What's wrong with you?" Do I find this like out of context, and also inappropriate, rude, and totally wrong to teach the kids, in this scenario. And but they've been learning this for like 10 years. And later on, they found out that perhaps the textbook, the second edition, they've went ahead and and revised that. This was the text, "What's wrong with you? You have a cold." So generally in an English class, we would like for kids to have conversations, like practice the sentence patterns using a dialogue or an information gap, where one person holds the information that the other doesn't, and they would engage in dialogue. So or to ask ask different classmates what their conditions are, and they would go about the classroom, "What's wrong with you?" And the other, your friend would say, "I have a fever," and then you need your partner's signature here. "Do you have a runny nose?" "Yes, I do." Something like that. But teaching them to ask what's wrong with you is totally wrong, right? How would you change this to a more appropriate question to ask to your friend in this case? "How are you feeling?" Yeah. And anything else? "How are you feeling?" Okay. Yes. See, what's wrong? Yeah. What's wrong? What symptoms do you have? Are you feeling okay? Do you feel sick? What's wrong? Are you feeling okay? Are you feeling sick? Are you okay? How do you feel? Are you okay? Are you okay? Yes, a simple "Are you okay?" or "How are you feeling okay?" I see more like "How are you feeling?" or "Are you feeling okay?" Is more common. So I think this is like more natural, because something that you would say to your friends, are you feeling okay? Are you feeling sick? Are you okay? Instead of asking what's wrong with you. But they changed that, and they changed it to "what's wrong." So instead of "what's wrong with you," students were taught asking "what's wrong," with the doctor offering advice that because Peter has a fever, he can have some sandwiches, but he can't have cookies. This is like, very textbook type of dialogue, and task that the publishers that wanted the kids to learn. And I personally think that we need like a new set of textbooks that are more, that could engage our students in more authentic dialogue. So frozen mints help with fevers, right? All right. Anyways, this is something that I found. Look, the textbooks are not perfect, and their dialogues are not natural, and that's why with all of you here, we're so happy that you're here in Taiwan to help out with the English classes and the English lessons, and to help us take a look at our textbooks, and if you spot anything that seems unnatural, that what you would normally say, or this is something that you could share with our English teachers, our teachers here and locally, and let the kids know this textbook dialogue might not be something that we commonly say to our friends. What's more appropriate, what we would say is just a simple, "Are you okay?" Right? So this is why we really appreciate you being here, helping out the teachers and students in Taiwan. So here's the 12-year National English Curriculum, just to give you a general idea. Right now, it's crazy. After the 12-year curriculum has been introduced, they have reduced the hours on English, and when we found out they changed the curriculum like this, we were, some of the English educators, or a lot of the, especially the primary education, teacher English education educators were pretty upset about this. Why? Because as you can see, there are no class hours in English from first and second grade. Remember in Taipei, back in 2001, they introduced English from first grade on, right? But like after a decade of like English education, like in the Taipei's experience, it was quite successful to be introduced in grade 1. They still think that the kids should start learning from grade 3, and it's only 40 minutes per week. It's crazy. And for grade 5 and 6, only 80 minutes per week. And by the end of elementary school, they only needed like 300 oral and 180 in writing. They only need to be able to spell out 180 words in English and be able to understand, or like a total of like 300 words. And the textbooks is designed based on 1,200 words for elementary school. So really, really limited, okay? And for grade 7 to 9, 135 minutes per week. Students had to learn 1,200 words, and the textbooks was based on 2,000 word list. For grade 10 to 12, 18 credit hours total in high school. And there's a big jump. They had 600 vocabulary per textbook. And with the textbook design based on the 4,500 word frequency. So how could you, with such a limited hours, or time spent on English in the elementary school stage, when really gets the hang of the English language, being able to communicate and read and memorize so many words in high school. So you could find, and because of the bilingual nation policy, and they wanted the Taiwanese students to have a more advanced level of English proficiency, and our target is set for B2 level, which is like somewhat fluent in communicating without pauses, being able to freely express themselves. That's a B2 level. For B1 level, it was like perhaps more pauses, need time to think about what they need, the words that they perhaps need more time to search for words in order to communicate, that sort of thing. And so our target is B2 level. By the end of high school, they would like our kids to reach like at least B1 level of English proficiency, at least. But they would like our university level level students to reach B2 level. But in the past, like in the past 10 years, for my university, for example, only like 25% of the university students can reach a B2 level, and that 25%, perhaps less than 25%. So I'm saying that, just, here right now, because of the bilingual nation policy or bilingual education policy, the goal, we have two goals, and we found out that our kids are more advanced in listening and reading, okay? And our students do not, although they may be able to read and understand English, but they can't express. Their oral and writing is really at the bottom, okay? They really they don't have the environment to practice their English communication. And so we have two goals right now, especially at the university level. We're providing them with more oral practice, being able to communicate in English, and also like we held we have writing centers, English active writing centers, or English writing centers, or English workshops, and English writing competitions at the university level. And this is like sort of the focus. But if we could start early, like from elementary school, middle school, and high school, offering them more opportunities to communicate in the English language, it would have, they would have a more like, I think, anyways, I think they should start early on, and that's what we would like to work on. Okay, so English starts at grade 1, despite the fact that the national curriculum, where is it, telling us to start English at grade 3, okay, for 40 minutes. There's a difference between there's a difference in terms of the 6 major cities: Taipei, New Taipei, Taoyuan right here, Taichung, Tainan, and Kaohsiung. In these 6 major cities, they still start English at grade 1. Okay, so it's but for other cities like Miaoli, Zhanghua, Yunlin, Jiayi, Pingdong, Hualien, Taidong. I'm sorry, these are in Chinese. You can read Chinese, right? Okay. A lot of schools still start from grade 3 English. All right. So just so I know that you're listening, do you know that the city that you will be assigned to, or yes, right? Not yes or no? Yes. Okay. Please put it in the chat, the year that they would start learning English. Great. Yeah, good. Yunlin, Kinmen, grade 3. Taipei, Kinmen 3. Kingman. Oh, a lot of you are going to Kingman, Jiayi 3. First grade. KH is Kaohsiung. I did not know that KH is like, okay. A lot of you are going to Kingman, Jiayi, Taichung, grade 1. Yes. Yeah. All right. Okay, Kingman, I'm not sure. I think Kingman, they might be starting earlier. I need to double check on that. Okay. All right. So yes, it's really very different. Some of you would be staying in the cities where students start learning from grade 1. Some of you are staying in cities where students start learning from grade 3. And so I recently, and I didn't put down the year where this blueprint for developing Taiwan into a bilingual nation by 2030 has came out, and they changed that into like into a bilingual. They changed this. This is no longer bilingual nation by 2030. It's like they call it bilingual policy. Bilingual policy by 2030. Okay, but the government is still allocating a lot of resources, money on bolstering Taiwan's bilingual education system, improving demand-driven English policy, proficiency among the general public, and enhancing the nation's overall competitiveness. The government is through different the government and also the local city government, each city, they're hiring more foreign English teachers or teaching assistants to coming to Taiwan to help out the bilingual policy. Excuse me. All right. The MOE, here's some facts about this push for bilingual policy. The Ministry of Education offers subsidies for 200 elementary schools, and this was in 2021. This year, they're offering subsidies for 300 elementary and middle schools for bilingual programs, hiring foreign English teachers to co-teach English in 2022. And it was like $146 million in 2 years on bilingual nation. Not bilingual, I should change that, bilingual policy. So for New Taipei City, 70 schools offer bilingual courses, $10 million spent in 3 years. And in Taipei, bilingual schools offer a third of the classes taught bilingually. So there are different approaches to this, and it's different there's a big difference in the different cities. I have Elan. I know perhaps the Elan ETAs are not here today because I've given a previous talk to them. This is for Elan. Elan, it's a beautiful city you could visit. For them, they have a different system. They have a 3-star system where schools who introduce schools who have bilingual education in one subject area would have a 1-star. For 2 subject areas would have a 2-star, and for 3 subject areas for 1/3 of class taught bilingually, they would be a 3-star school. So in Elan, there's 5 schools who have 3-star schools in bilingual schools. So this is a bit different system, but for Taipei City, okay, I'm gonna skip that. For Taipei City, the capital city, and some of you are going to teach in Taipei. Our mayor Ko Wen-je dedicated 1.5 billion new Taiwanese dollars on bilingual education, and he was saying in this news conference that right now we have 79 bilingual schools, and in 2060 all of the elementary schools and middle schools are going to become bilingual schools, which means that 1/3 of the courses are going to be taught in all schools in Taipei, and that's very ambitious. And but the teachers are working hard towards that goal. So when it comes to bilingual education in Taiwan, teachers are adopting content language integrated learning approach to introducing bilingual education. There's different ways for bilingual education. So one of you mentioned about being in an immersive program for like 90 minutes a day for 5 days a week. That's an immersion type of of setting. At first in Taiwan, the first year we introduced we were trying to use English to teach other subjects. We started off with immersion and wanting our teachers to immerse our students in the English language, learning PE, learning arts, learning music. But then after the bilingual nation policy, there are a lot of like parents and politicians and educators, scholars, they were saying that Mandarin Chinese is our native language and it's still important. So we cannot, it cannot be an immersive English like program. It should be like bilingual education. So with a focus on using our native language and English in teaching the subject areas. When I say the subject areas, it means subjects other than English. So right now we're promoting teaching English in English, but for other subject areas like PE, science, music, arts, and integrative activities, life skills, the different areas, they're taught in English mainly, and they could use Chinese as well in the classroom. So it's not a monolingual class. It's you could use both languages, or three, or also Hakka or Fukienese, and we were asking the most difficult aspect for implementing content and language integrative learning. This is an approach with a focus on content and language at the same time. So it's a win-win situation, because we think that while students are learning music in English, the focus is on content, but they're learning the language at the same time, the English language at the same time. But the implementation to get our teachers to implement this CLIL like using CLIL to teach these subject areas bilingually, there's 8 different aspects of it. And let me show you the in-service elementary school, what the in-service elementary school teachers think. They think that they're from 1 to 5, to them it's a 3, that they think it's somewhat, well, it's like neutral. They're perhaps more, because out of these 49 teachers, most of them are English teachers. So they're not worried about their English language fluency. They might be fluent enough in English to teach the younger kids. But they are worried about hard CLIL, which means like for CLIL, content and language integrative activities and learning, there would be a focus on content or a focus more on language, but also based on content. So for hard CLIL, it would be like the subject area pedagogy. So teaching scientific inquiry as opposed to teaching science text in the English class. So teaching science text in the English class would be soft CLIL. And teaching hard CLIL would be science teacher teaching scientific inquiry in English, using the science pedagogy to teach. So in Taiwan, teachers are more worried about hard CLIL than soft CLIL, because they, English teachers, they are confident in teaching different subject areas or content topics in the English class. And but they were mostly worried about our students' learners English proficiency, because what I showed you, our students were really that they're really like beginners in English, but now since they needed to start learning science in English, we worry that they might not be able to understand the science concepts in English, and that's what we worry the most. Okay, and so for bilingual classes, bilingual lessons. We need teachers to have bilingual, to be trained in bilingual pedagogy, to have the language competency, to know general and subject specific language. You know, they did not grow up learning science and English. Perhaps for science majors, they would read science original text in English, science English textbooks at the university level, but for elementary level, we don't have, they have not had any prior experience learning science in the elementary school in English. So the subject specific language is something that they needed to work on, and perhaps needed your help with. And for homeroom teachers, they also need, or different subject area teachers, they need classroom English. And they need to know how to translanguage, like translanguaging skills, like what portion of the class can and should be taught in Chinese, and and how to use multimodality or PowerPoint's visuals to help kids understand. That's all part of translanguaging. And the teachers need to be at least B2 CEFR level in order to become we think that in order to be certified for becoming a bilingual teacher. So also they need to know bilingual content knowledge, have bilingual content knowledge in math, science, arts, live curriculum, health and PE, and integrative activities. So I've asked the teachers as an English teacher, which subject are you most comfortable in teaching in English? Because right now, since like the subject area teachers or the homeroom teachers, they're not capable, or they're not confident in teaching English, teaching these subject areas in English. We really relied on our English teachers to be able to teach these different subject areas. So especially in Taipei, you would find that English teachers, they were asked to become homeroom teachers, and they were asked to teach live curriculum in English. And some English teachers taught PE in English and found out, no, they can't do that. You know, they just don't have the skills, and they're not confident in in classroom management and PE, and they don't know this what should be covered in PE. So 20 English teachers here thought that live curriculum is for first and second graders. Integrative activities start from 3rd to 6th. These two subject areas are the ones that they're most comfortable with, followed by arts, PE, science, and math. And math, which they think is the most difficult. So right now in Taiwan, we don't see a lot of teachers teaching math in English. Okay, but if you have a math expertise, if you majored in math or math education, you could share with your English teacher and perhaps integrate like math in your English class. Okay, so this is like as a teacher, which subjects are you most comfortable in teaching in English? 45 in service teachers, it's the same. Integrative activities, life curriculum, because these are more related to daily life and issues, and then arts, PE, music, science, and math. These are the subjects that they're not comfortable in teaching in English. So in different schools, we have school-based curriculum. And remember, in like 1st grade and 2nd grade, in the national curriculum, English is not in, there's no English class. So right now, some cities, they were using their school-based curriculum hours sessions to teach in English. So this is one of the new Taipei City schools, school-based curriculum. So they they had picture book selected, Grow Up David, My Friend is Sad, Why Should I Eat Well? And they were topic based, and they were integrating the 19 issues about family, about moral education, life education, international education, multicultural education, the environment, energy, outdoor. These are some of the topics or issues that our Ministry of Education would like the teachers to integrate into their curriculum. They were using these to develop like lessons, more CLIL-based lessons for to help kids learn English. And I'm sorry this is in Chinese, but for the parts that you see in English, you would know that this is for second grade. There's in a curriculum like this, they're still learning the alphabet, like G and D. For G, grow, go, give, David did. And these words are selected from the picture book, Grow Up David. Okay. So, and they would like the kids to be able to say, go ahead, want to play, thanks a lot, that's mine, are you okay? Things like this. So, and you know, and for the lesson on Grow Up David. All right. So perhaps you would have a chance to, or you would be asked to work with your English teachers or homeroom teachers in developing a school-based curriculum. And it would look like this. All right, so for content and language integrative learning, this is the CLIL wheel that I often refer to, like, and would be a good like framework to support developing a good like bilingual program. We use Do Koyo's framework for 4C's framework, which is cognition, content, communication, and culture. The 4C's sorry, I don't know why this moved. Okay, all right, and but I really like this CLIL wheel because in terms of content, these are the things that we like the teachers to focus on, to be able to have a nice sequence from easy to the easier ones to more complicated ones, 1, 2, 3. That we stressed on concept over language for a bilingual program, task over language. We are not teaching them grammar in the bilingual program. We're engaging our kids in tasks. And even if it's an English class, I would like the teachers to engage students in tasks and learn language through the tasks. Okay, so task over language. And we would like the teachers to use guided multimedia input. I'm going to skip the 3 dimensions because it's more theoretical. And in terms of communication, for every lesson we have key language, and usually the number of vocabulary for elementary school ranges from 5 to 8 vocabulary per lesson. Okay, so 5 is a good number, and instruction should be in English. It's simple English, simple enough for them to understand. And we focus on student-student interaction. I know that this may seem natural to you growing up because I know teachers in the States, they would have think, pair, share, or always engage students in conversations and discussions. But in Taiwan, it's more of a like lecture type of class. So, but in English class, we would really like you to design pair interactions or pair discussions or group discussions or group tasks. And also we would like for English class or for bilingual class to always have offer students a supported output, a time by the end of the lesson for them to be able to share what they learned in English. Okay. So this is why CLIL, because the traditional English curriculum, 80 minutes per week does not work. And it starts from 3rd grade. And students in the past were only learning to use language with low cognition. Remember, we're teaching them what's wrong, right? And I have a fever. And that's something that they already know in Chinese. And they're only learning the language through repetition and drilling and perhaps like information gaps and tasks like that. What we would like to do for bilingual educations is to use language to learn, which is more higher cognition. And I will show you more like examples, lessons on that later. There's an immediacy effect. We like for kids to learn now and use now, as opposed to learn now and use later. And also there's like in terms of relevance, we think that it's important to bridge connections to students' lives. I think it's, people may think that the English curriculum is more like students' life-centered, but I think the dialogues are always fake, and they're not useful, and they don't have the environment to use what they learned in English into their daily lives. And so, yeah, things like what subject, what is, perhaps I don't have a good example right now. I can't think of one. All right, so here, this is Taipei Wenchang Elementary School science-based science games class taught by Ms. Chen and Yichong Huang, and this is in English. Okay, so we're beginning to introduce like science in English, and they're approaching it through science games in class, balancing butterfly sound and vibration. And with the limited English, students still were having fun and engaging in learning through hands-on work. They know that they know more about sound and by vibration by blowing this into the paper cup and seeing it move. And so we're not worried about, well, although a lot of teachers are worried about students' low English proficiency, not being able to understand these science concepts, we're trying to use a more hands-on and more hands-on activities, projects, and things that they could see and they could try out on for them to understand the important concepts. Like seeds, how do they disperse? As you can see, they were engaged in different types of activities. Animal dispersal, beggar ticks are dispersed by animals, and they were trying it out on this cloth. And water dispersal, they were observing the coconut seeds floating on water. And wind dispersal, this seeds from plants like dandelion are light and have feather leaf bristles and such. And so they were trying it out in the classroom. And in science, scientific inquiry is what we've been trying to focus on in terms of fruit seeds. How many carpels are in different kinds of fruits? The word carpel is not in the English curriculum, and it's I don't know this word, to be honest, before this class is taught by my student. I was like, what does carpel means? What is carpel? I mean, do you use this word a lot? I mean, but here in a science class, they were through observation, students were learning the concept of carpels by observing and writing down and drawing their observations.
in terms of water, like a buoyancy, they use clay to build boat, kind of boat holds more coins. And in order to explain the kind of boat that holds more coins, the theory behind it, it's really difficult for them to process this information in English. So this is the part where the teacher would use Chinese to explain the theory behind why certain designs would hold more coins. Okay. All right, so imagine if this is all in English with the learners with limited vocabulary, and how do you get students, help students to comprehend these ideas or concepts? And this is another student teaching about the water cycle and the water molecules, and showing the water particles. So visuals are very important. This is one of the this was the seed lesson on the seeds, whether some seeds dispersed by water, and observing that it floats in the water. Okay. Chestnut. Right. Okay, you can see that students were answering in both Chinese and English. Some say fu in Chinese means float, and some students would use float. Okay, so although it's a bilingual lesson and we're focusing on enhancing students' English language ability, in a bilingual class, we encourage students to speak up in both their native language and try out their expressing in English as well. So the focus on bilingual education, we found out that not all teachers could teach science class. We have observed that English teacher, because of their English proficiency, they were asked to teach science, but they were teaching science in the science class. They were having more fun and experimenting, but not teaching, not necessarily teach. They did not teach scientific inquiry. So there needs to be a focus on, if it's an English teacher, how do we go about teaching scientific inquiry, the pedagogy. And then so the focus would be on not just the buoyancy experiment, but a focus on the process of predicting something and observing and explaining what they've observed, a more scientific inquiry process, having a hypothesis after observation, and planning out an experiment to test it out. And also because English teachers are working with science teachers and foreign teachers in science class, right here, the reason why we think that some science, like foreign English teachers, are really with a background of science, really did a wonderful job in simplifying the language enough for kids to understand this is an experimental procedure. In one of the classes I've observed, a foreign English teacher's class called Lawrence, and he had the steps really simplified, and one step per slide with visuals, and put sugar candy into the beaker, add 600 milliliters of hot water, and then the third procedure is stir, and having them on one slide each with the visuals. And this was his class. Their goal was they had like a sugar brick, and there was a toy inside the sugar brick. What they did was they each group had a different different pot, different water, different temperature, warm water or hot water, and then they tried out whether how long it took them to dissolve all the sugar candy, and if it had something to do with the temperature of the water. And so in class, in if you're teaching, if you're going into an elementary school teaching, the classroom language would go like this. It would, like, for third grade class, it would be really, really simple. Like, what is this? What are these? Do you know what this is? And we need, these are like I transcribed Lawrence's lesson verbatim, and and then jot down all the questions that he asked, and the instructions that he gave on the right hand side. Open the bag, put it in, put your hand underneath, don't touch it, get the toy out. You could see that his instruction was really short, 3 to 5 words per sentence, with a demonstration in body language. And he was using what the kids learned in English class. What is this? What are these? This is what they were learning in English class, in the science class. What do I need? And what is this? These are chopsticks. They were using chopsticks to stir and dissolve the sugar brick. Okay, so this was the they were really excited. More and more. More and more.
We'll take out the toy.
Okay, so you could hear that one of the boys were saying, 你要 take out the toy, yeah. It's like a combination, a mix of Chinese and English in one sentence. 你要, you want, or you have to take out the toy, yeah. And then you're saying stir, 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 right? So we really like lessons like this, and with a more advanced kid in each group, we've observed that, you know, peer influence is also a very good, very like learning English from their peers. It's also a very good source of learning. So yeah, in this lesson, we have the question was, how do we dissolve the sugar candy? The kids all know how to recite the definition through body language and gestures that help them understand. And then in the questionings, the questions that the teacher asks is really important on helping them understand. Here are some other examples. Curriculum developed by Gregory Conrad, one in a new Taipei elementary school. It's Makers ABC, and they developed a co-teaching mode. Let me introduce this for their lessons. It usually starts with a drama, sort of giving them the context and setting the stage, and then they would introduce the theory or science behind it, and then have students they have maker diary where students keep like a vocabulary notebook for STEM, and they draw the concepts, write down the English and the Chinese, so that when they were building these projects, they could refer to their notes, their maker diary. And then at the end, they have a reading and review multiple choice practice. So for drama theory and review, Gregory and the local English teachers, his partners, they had a one teach one, sometimes it's one teach one support for drama and theory part. Sometimes they did team teaching so that they could engage in a dialogue for drama and explaining the science behind it through dialogue in front of the kids. But for build, they had a parallel teaching so that they could each work with several groups to monitor their progress. So it's a really clear co-teaching model for them. Something I'd always share with foreign teachers, English teachers who needs to co-teach with their partners. So these are some other projects that they did, series and parallel circuit, and boat with circuit. Yeah, they love these curriculum, this hands-on work, and they really enjoyed it, and they learned a lot in it, you know, and gained a lot of vocabulary and more confident in expressing themselves in English. So this is another class, and this lesson is developed by our local English teacher, and she is a homeroom teacher in 5th grade at the time, and this was integrative activities class, and the topic was on Formosan animal warriors. Okay, and so in the class, they were saving endangered animals in Taiwan, like Taiwan blue magpie, Taiwan black bear, Sika deer. And through teamwork, remember the 12-year, the 3 core competency, one of under one of the core competency it was teamwork. So they were having teamwork activities in saving the endangered species over and cross over the hippo effect and rescue these species and place them. There's a Taiwan map on the other side, and where they place these animals back into their natural habitats. And what we like in bilingual lessons or in English classes is to introduce authentic text in the class. So she also used National Geographic articles. What is extinction? The answer is complicated, but an excerpt, the most important point, or the easiest to understand: dozens of new species go extinct every day. And the word extinct was explained in his PowerPoint prior to introducing this short excerpt. And she had the whole class read aloud, and they did great. What I also liked about the bilingual lessons was that it was not grammar based, and it was for her. This is teacher Serena. She developed like lessons based on local issues, and this was sky lanterns in Pingxi. If you had a chance, you could visit Pingxi, New Taipei City, and get a sky lantern from the vendors. And you know, and this was like it was a very popular scenic spot, and for people to visit. But she like each group, each year she would go to Pingxi with a bunch of friends, and like 30 of them, and they would pick, like they would help clean up Pingxi and gather all those sky lantern trash. And within 1 hour, they gathered like 100 kilograms of sky lantern trash. And she showed the pictures to the kids. And so this topic was on nature versus culture, whether Taiwan should reserve our culture by still having these sky lantern released, but or should we protect the nature? And so they were assigned, this group was assigned the river that goes through Pingxi, and they found out that that river, a lot of our local Taiwanese don't know what river that was, but in the class, Serena taught them that it was Keelung River, showed them the map. And then a lot of sky lantern trash went into the river, and they had to clean it. This group would be this group was they played the role of the vendors, selling sky lanterns and for a living. And this other group played a Taiwan blue magpie. It was their one of the endangered species, and that was their natural habitats. There you could see Taiwan blue magpie in that area as well. So they had to do a first-person account in a debate over this issue, nature versus culture, and later on, they need to plan and take actions to solve this, try to solve this problem. So we really like lessons like this, and students, having students draw comics. I'm Keelung River. I have stomach ache. My stomach is full of trash from Skylander. I deeply hope humans can clean up this kind of trash. With Chinese illustrating the concepts, and so these are wonderful like student work, and really nice topic that, and although in group work, students were discussing in Chinese, some of the advanced kids were helping them turning their discussions into writing the key concepts down in English, and later on helping them present in English. So we really like our English curriculum or English classes to be similar to these bilingual lessons in different subject areas. And perhaps this is where we really needed more help from you, because when I was comparing American education system and Taiwanese education system, I had a general feeling that it's like in the States, you have more, it's more project-based, and and there's the teachers would cultivate or passion for certain areas, and a lot of things are more hands-on and more engaging. And we would like, with the help from you, to offer similar learning opportunities for our Taiwanese kids. Okay, these are some other teachers in New Taipei City. I think that's it. Bilingual education. We stress on content and language with the help of support and formative assessment, not summative assessment, like in-class assessment through project works. That was the trend and the way that we're approaching bilingual education. And because although perhaps you would be focusing on helping with the English education, but I think that, like right now when I'm working with Taipei schools, foreign English, like ETAs are invited to the meetings in preparation for their bilingual courses, and in helping them develop their bilingual programs and worksheets or workbooks for the students. So I hope that what I shared today would be helpful for throughout your stay in Taiwan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jen. Yeah, every year I think it's very like impressive to hear the development of Taiwanese education, and and you, Jen always Professor Jen always provide a lot of information for us and a lot of good clip for us to know better. So thank you so much. So I think this is the end of the session, and it's coordinator time. So if you need to meet your coordinator, please go to your coordinator. If not, then this is the end of the morning session, and in the afternoon we're going to have a PE class. So prepare some bottled water and some towels for yourself, but that's not for you to drink. You are going to use them to do some exercise later. So I will see you guys in the afternoon. So bye.
Bye. Thank you. It was nice meeting you all.